Welcome! In this series of short videos, we will look at topics common to both the PowerBasic console and Windows compilers. Today we will look at the tally command and how it can be used. The basic language, and PowerBasic in particular, has some very powerful string handling commands. Today we're going to look at a command within the PowerBasic language called tally. As the name suggests, tally is a numeric command to operate upon strings. This command will return the number of instances of a particular string it finds in another string. Let's have a look at some code. This tally command is valid in both the PowerBasic console and Windows compilers. So in order to demonstrate what this tally command can be used for, we'll create a local variable and populate that with some data. So we've created a string variable, and we've populated that variable with a string of text. If you had a need to work out how many words were actually in this piece of text, how would you go about it? There are a number of approaches, but what we're going to do first is we're going to use the tally command. And we're going to use the tally command to count the number of spaces in this string. Using this technique, we will get very close to the number of words. In fact, it will be one less than the number of words in the string. If we create a local variable, which is long, and we use the tally command with two parameters. The first parameter is the string we wish to search. The second parameter is the string within that string we wish to count. So we're counting the number of single space characters within the entire string. And as we're working on the assumption that the number of words will be one greater than that, we're adding 1 to the value and populating word count with that value and printing it out in our log. So let's run this application now. It runs and tells us there are exactly 26 words within this string. However, what happens if we add an extra space to the end of the string? The 26 we got before is now 27. So if you're going to use the tally command to work out the number of words, you're going to have to do a little bit more manipulation on the string itself. We can remove any leading or trailing spaces quite easily from the string by using trim $. This will now return the 26 words as we expected. If our string has a space before the comma, this would throw off our count again. But we can use some of the other commands within PowerBasic for string manipulation. First of all, we will remove all the commas, periods, colons or semicolons. Using this command, remove $, will remove, in this case, any instance of any of these characters it finds. So we could add to this quite easily a question mark, just in case there's a question mark, or an exclamation mark. While this remove command would remove any punctuation, it would leave us with 2 spaces between the word expert and the word or. We can use another PowerBasic command called shrink. The shrink command is very powerful. It can be used to remove extra spaces between words, leaving just a single space between each word. This should leave us with all the words with a single space between them, and we can then count the words again. And this takes us back to 26 words. So with just a few lines of code, we can use these string manipulation commands in combination with the tally command to count the number of words in our text. So what else can the tally command be used for? Let's add a little more to our string. We have now appended to the end of our string 568 people online. We can then use the tally command to count the number of numeric characters in our string in total. We're creating a local variable called number count. We're then using the tally command against the data string, and we're looking for any instance of any number between 0 and 9. And we can then print that out to our log. and it tells us there are indeed 3 numeric characters within our string. So can we do this on something larger, something more complex, and perhaps something with cabbage return line feeds in it, as if we're taking an entire file and putting it into a string? So now we have 4 lines of text embedded in a single string. Each line of text has at the end of it a cabbage return line feed. And this is the kind of information we would get if we loaded a CSV file into a string. If we wish to count how many records have actually got the word active in them, we can use the tally command for that quite happily. If we use the tally command this way, by giving it the string active to search for, it will find all the entries with the word active, but it will also find those which contain the word active. So this should return a value of 4, which it does indeed. If we're looking for something like active or inactive, we'll need to give a bit more information. Now we know the active ones are all preceded with a comma. So if we put a comma in front of that, it should now find just 3 entries, which it does. We can also use the same approach looking for numbers. In this case, we're looking for the value 1200, both preceded and followed by a single comma. This should find 2 entries, ignoring the one that's 12,001. If we run our code now, we'll see it returns 2. It has found 2 entries. So, as you will see, the tally command is very useful to do something in strings where you need to count iterations. And you can achieve this in a remarkably few lines of code. So in summary, the tally command adds to a range of commands within PowerBasic that perform string handling. Another item in your toolset. Hopefully you'll find this code useful in your applications. But that's it for today. Thank you for watching.